All right, welcome to Small Towns Unscripted one more time. Today's a good day. Today's a really good day. Chuck and Sharon, how are you?
I'm good.
How do you say your last name?
Podlich.
Podlich. Chuck and Sharon Podlich. This is Nicole Turner. I'm Russ McClellan. This is Tara Kalin. You're on Small Towns Unscripted.
Whoa.
Watch out, you're going to be world famous now.
Yeah, there's no prizes, so. Maybe next year.
Back
It's like
when we
farming
had this-
apples, right? Maybe next year we'll have that crop. We'll get some.
Yeah.
You know. So you guys, you sent me, this is a perfect example of one of the reasons we're doing this podcast every week. I've known you, or more of you, for quite a while. But when I read what you sent me, Sharon, I'm just amazed. Like, wow. So
Fun.
part of this is the goal.
Doesn't have yours.
Yeah, and you're both. I mean, you guys have lived just seems like a lot of lives, but you don't let a lot of moss grow under you. I can tell you that. You seem to be moving and shaking. So what we'd like to do is let everybody that's watching the podcast get to know you instead of you. And the other reason we do this is just to try to help unite people and have a good time with it. And essentially, your kids. I see you have 7 grandkids now.
Yeah.
So, and then your great grandkids that aren't born yet, they'll have this ability to look back with technology that we have now and say, well, there was great grandma and grandpa, and you'll get it from the authentic source. So that's what is really cool. I mean, what I love is when we get comments on social media like, hey, grandpa's on a podcast. That's cool.
Yeah. And they're sharing it with all their friends.
Yeah. So why don't we just start at the beginning, and maybe you guys could start, you were both born in 1955.
Right.
So maybe just kind of start from where you grew up.
You can go first.
Well, I was born in Annapolis, Maryland, grew up just outside of Annapolis. That's a lot of sailboats back in Annapolis, kind of like Seattle. Sailing was a big part of my growing up. I was always pretty industrious as a kid. Had a strong work ethic. I don't know. I'd work after school. Anything for a buck chuck,
They named some wine after you later on.
$3 Chuck now. It kind of ruins it. Anyway.
Damn inflation. So Chuck, when you were tell me about your parents in Indianapolis. What were they like?
In Annapolis?
Or where did they come from?
Well, my dad was born in Baltimore, and my mother was born in Annapolis.
Oh my gosh, okay.
And actually my mother had gone away to college, but that was the only time she went away from home until they retired, and then they moved out here. Dad was an attorney. He started working for his dad, who was an attorney, my granddad, and they were real estate attorneys, not courtroom attorneys.
Not ambulance chasers. So was your grandfather an immigrant, or was he born in the U.S.?
No, he was born in the U.S. He was born in Baltimore.
You go back 3 generations, when you're on the East Coast, it's a little different than the West Coast. Right?
Yeah.
For sure.
So usually on the West Coast, if you were from out here, then somebody, that 3rd generation was probably an immigrant.
Right.
From somewhere, right?
At least, I always say we were the genetically select malcontents on the West Coast, because our heritage is we've always kept moving west, and we finally ran into the Pacific Ocean and we're stuck. But
So growing up, you were in high school. Were you into sports or just sailing and being on the ocean?
Did a little bit of sports, but nothing very competitive. I think I got my letter for being a manager of the wrestling team. So they used me as a dummy when they needed to practice their moves. Yeah.
Yeah, you made them better. I love it.
Yeah, it was wild times back then.
Brody.
You often think about that and how things have changed, and that's one of the reasons that these authentic stories matter. I mean, some of the stories we've heard from like your grandparents and what they went through, and their parents, just 2 or 3 people removed, and all of a sudden it's such a different world for kids.
Yeah.
Like Tara's son Brody right now, and my grandkids. It's kind of fascinating how much has changed, and probably how much more it's going to change. now that AI is in our world and so many other things. It's almost like I want to go backwards in time, but
Well, I feel like even the coasts are so different. I mean, you guys are like East Coast people. Your people are East Coast. I mean, this isn't you just went there for school and came back. It's in
Yeah.
your DNA. Being
There's a lot more history, and I tend to
Yeah.
view history as a ball and chain because it sets you up with an expectation of what you're supposed to be.
that's an
And
interesting
when I
take.
spent a year in Europe, I found out that ball of chain's even heavier.
Oh, really?
Right.
Yeah. So I mean,
Right.
so on the West Coast, you're free to invent yourself to be whoever you wanted to be.
I would say, as
Awesome.
a West Coast person, my perception is that we're a little bit more free and wild and not as much history and not as much.
formality.
Yeah. And then you go east and it just seems real,
Yeah.
like, get in line.
It's almost colonialism in a way back,
I
that's
don't know. It just has a
resonating.
different feel to me. And I don't know if that's true or not true, but
Your architecture of your buildings, especially once you get down into DC and Boston and those areas, is
yeah.
Now, Sharon,
pretty
you were also
impressive. They
born.
got
It is
age, yeah.
impressive. I mean, I stayed with a friend once who lived in Boston, and it's where the Minutemen had their last stand in Lexington. And down the street from her was a plaque on a house. John Hancock lived here.
Oh, wow.
Like Paul Revere rode down this road lighting lanterns. You're like, what in the world? We don't have anything like that.
But they want to keep it like that. There.
Well,
they want to
yeah.
keep that,
They're still
tradition, and
they're
they
still
wanna-
doing reenactments.
Yeah.
We just don't have that.
No. The courage that it must have been for that generation in the American Revolution.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
I mean, I'm a big Daniel Boone fan, and the people that founded the country. I like to read a lot about that, and they had to do everything under cover of night and hold meetings. And you get caught, you get killed. I mean, you're not going to get a ticket; you're going to get murdered.
Yeah.
So it's a wild. You think about our American history on the East Coast and how it all started. It's just fascinating. And you were also born on the East Coast in the same year as Chuck, right? 1955.
Right,
And
1955. I'm a few months younger.
born, you'll never let him forget that. And born in New Hampshire, but you lived in your home was in Vermont.
Vermont, yeah.
So what was it like for you, Sharon?
Well, as a child, we lived there for a while. My father was in the Army, and so we did a lot of moving for a period of time, and ended up moving up into Vermont by my maternal grandparents, and stayed there. And so my family, English-speaking and some French-speaking people, were those settled Quebec. Or southern Quebec, or north of the border of Vermont. So,
Wow.
Wow.
and I've got recently a bunch more of the genealogy that has been passed down, and yeah,
People came down the border.
they were from across there. Well, like my great grandparents were both born in Canada. My grandfather used to say if he'd been born one farm down the line, he'd be Canadian, and his brother and sister were.
Oh, wow.
So he was, yeah.
Interesting times.
Yeah.
And I've heard Vermont's beautiful. I've never been.
Well, I think it is.
Yeah.
It's
Especially
a lot
like
of
in the
green, a
fall.
lot more green, and especially in the fall.
Oh yeah.
So your dad was drafted into Korea? Or he
He
enlisted?
joined and
Went to Korea?
Korea, and then was subsequently later on went back in the Army as a reservist and went on to Vietnam.
Yeah, those times, Korea and Vietnam were wild times.
They were, yeah.
And was it your
Traumatic times.
Was it your father that was killed in Vietnam?
No,
that
mine.
was,
So your dad
Yeah,
was a
his-
helicopter pilot, right?
Yeah.
And then he went into Vietnam, and then the next year he get killed in action?
He was, yeah. It was a military accident, I guess. They were on assignment, and due to dust, the helicopter behind him didn't keep to the formation they were supposed to as they took off, and they ended up having a crash.
How old were you?
10.
I bet that's. Tell me about that. What's
Yeah.
that like as 10 years old?
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's really tough. It was, and at that point in time, people didn't talk to you about that, and it was like friends didn't know what to say.
yeah.
and I didn't know what to say to them, and so it was just, there was no thoughts about grief counseling for children.
Right. For any of those,
Sure,
anybody,
yeah.
families, the soldiers.
Right, yeah.
So in that time, Vietnam was a rough time in history too in the 60s, because there was such a lot of protests against the war.
Mm-hmm.
You might have been too young to, fortunately, maybe see that part of it, right? Sorry.
We didn't. Yeah, no, we didn't see too much. Vermont. If the United States goes to war, Vermont very shortly will be there. We'll also go, because there is a point in time in Vermont history where they thought they might just be Vermont. And they had to be convinced to be the 14th colony. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're talking about it now, 50
Yeah,
months.
yeah. And actually, and my dad was the first Vermonter to die in Vietnam.
Wow, really?
Oh my gosh.
So,
Well,
it was
you know,
really
those
early.
all of
Whoa.
those soldiers.
yeah, he
and
was there very early on.
all of the people that have served in our country. My dad was drafted to Vietnam too, and fortunately didn't have to fight. He was a little bit late to the game, but you know, he was very not too happy about leaving this town and going to Korea, but they did it. And so the sacrifices, you know, that everyone in the families, and often I think people forget the families sacrifice as well while they're gone, and then all the loss, and then all the traumatic PTSD and things that come after that. You know, we joke, not really joke, but it's like literally, like you said, there wasn't a lot of counseling.
No, there was no concept of it. And I think during, and this is just what I've read too, is during World War II and World War I, you had what they called battle shock or something like shell shock,
syndrome.
and they just accepted that for those people. And now we're looking more and more into the PTSD.
Back then the counselors' names were Jack Daniels and Jim Beam.
Yep.
That didn't work out too well for anybody.
Yeah.
But unfortunately,
No.
if it wasn't for those guys, we might be speaking different languages than we are. So
Yep.
I'm very
And
grateful.
that's or we wouldn't be free to speak our
Well,
thoughts.
you know, I'm
and
thinking
that's part of where
off of
my dad's
100%.
what you said on here. Like, was your dad even around a lot of your childhood?
actually quite a bit. Yeah,
Oh,
because we were
okay.
with him. We went. I was born in Vermont, and then he came back from Korea and got stationed in Georgia, and my mom and I joined him, and then my brothers were born. And
Gotcha.
so we followed wherever, and it was all East Coast.
So you were an Army
And you
brat.
went to Germany too.
Oh, sorry, yeah, it was not all East Coast. We did have a time in Germany. So my third grade year, I was in Germany.
Jeez.
So you got pretty used to just,
Yep.
That was just
And
the
you
life.
you talked about social media a little before we started this. Is like, I would make friends, and then you just didn't.
Ever see him again?
Yeah, you just didn't have that keep up a connection because we were little kids. We
Yeah.
didn't write letters.
what would you say was the benefit of growing up like that? Probably make friends easy.
Yeah, kind of. You learn to develop community quicker. You don't collect so much stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can
I'll
see. I mean,
bet.
with
Yeah.
your guys, literally. I mean, I wish I could just kind of go through all this. So it's pretty fascinating. So you made your way out here, and you ended up having 4 daughters, all out here.
All out here.
This is a cool story, though, how he got here, right? It was through Yakima?
Well,
Yes, yeah.
Our original destination was Yakima. 'cause
Okay.
I wanted to try growing apples, and I heard that was the place.
So you just
Oh,
read in a
funny.
book, or had a
I think
friend, or-
National Geographic had a thing on apples.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
You're at the dentist's
know.
office reading the National Geographic.
You're like, I've always wanted to just grow an
See
apple.
if I can figure
Well,
this
there's
out.
apples on the East Coast too, right? New York has a lot of apples. Michigan has a lot of apples.
Yeah.
And I had done a little work in a orchard on the University of Vermont campus when I was studying. So I had a background in fruit growing, and just wanted to get some practical experience to go with the academic education, which was always, the practical has always been more important to me than the academic.
Yeah, isn't that true now? Especially where school's gotten, $250,000 for a degree that you
Jeez,
may or may
right.
not use.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't help you necessarily get a job anymore anyway.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So it's the vocation, I think, is the next doctors and lawyers, the plumbers and electricians and builders.
Jeez.
The stuff that AI can't easily replace.
No. You got to have someone come in and, install your Windows. I mean, you could try the YouTube
The
thing,
technician will show up, but he'll ask AI to
What to
help
do,
him
yeah.
diagnose it.
That's true. But he just needs the physical hands to do it.
Right.
Yep.
So did you guys meet at school? At
We
college?
did.
University of
yeah.
Vermont, yeah.
University of Vermont, and you majored in psychology.
Yeah.
What was your goal when you were going to school? Do you want to be a psychiatrist or a psychologist?
No,
or-
just counseling, so
Counseling.
lower level, yeah. And I did do a bunch of that around here. And I worked in the mental health unit on the hospital when I very first started.
The third
Oh,
floor,
okay.
the psych tech unit.
Mhm.
Yep. Didn't have a third floor then.
Did-
We
Wow.
were on one end of the second floor,
Yeah.
back by the parking lot. Yeah.
What was that like? What was your experience doing that field?
Well, kind of like anything else. I think you see people are struggling. You see things that early in their life have caused them some sensitivities and things like that to various things. And then there's just kind of haywiring that can go on in the brain chemicals and mess things up.
Do you think you shared with us that you worked with some group homes for troubled youth. Do you think your experience with losing your father had something to do with that?
I think I do, yeah. Yeah, I always felt that adults needed to be willing to talk to kids more. And that was probably my driving
That
influence.
is in one of that's a mystery in life on how to do that. Like I think there's my daughter has a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, both boys, and on the west side over by Bremerton, right? So I get calls a lot. I never realized how many times my daughter called my dad while he was alive until he passed away, and then I started getting the calls. And the first thing I had to learn is that my job was not to solve the problem.
Yeah.
And she's very direct. She's a doctor of audiology, so she's like, "Dad, you're doing it again." I'm like, what? She goes, "You're not letting me vent. You're solving the problem. I don't want the problem
But
solved."
remember, I said this a couple of times ago that being a parent is the opportunity to parent yourself. And for me and probably you, we were in a generation of where our parents talked at us a lot, not with us or to us or about us or there wasn't a lot of curiosity. It was just, go blah, 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 do your chore, well, wash your hands, come to dinner, is your homework done? There wasn't like why isn't your homework done?
Right, or why do you feel the way you do? Nothing
What?
like that.
Feelings?
So so it's like I feel like that's a responsibility now with a son to not be like that. And how do I do that? I don't know. I wasn't parented that way. It's a brave new world.
Yep.
Yes. So that experience working with, were you doing that before or while you were in college, or was that after?
That was after.
After, yeah. And then that's when you were working you said you were working in a greenhouse.
Yeah.
Learning about, fruits and vegetables and plants.
Nursery
Nursing
production.
plants, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I wrote. He
What is
had a whole
tomato
greenhouse of
or
when Mini
tomato?
Roses started. He was working with a guy that started Mini Roses, and the company he worked for had him do a whole greenhouse, and they were for sale by then, weren't they?
Oh yeah.
But I would go there just to sniff the roses.
So if you've always had a green thumb.
I think my paternal grandmother is probably responsible for that. She had a 4-acre yard and had 40 different varieties of holly and a whole bunch of everything. And yeah, I used to do the yard work up there. Got to drive the big equipment. Or at least it was big for me when I was 10 years old.
Yeah. Donkey trucks.
Well, holly is, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have to have like a male
You
and
need
a
a male
female
and a
plant,
female,
right?
yeah.
To make it produce the berries.
Right. But there were so many hollies in Maryland that you didn't have to worry too much.
Oh, there was
about
one
it.
nearby.
Oh, yeah. There's trees. They're not just bushes. There's trees.
They're
Yeah.
native there, so
Oh.
there was plenty of pollen.
So there's a lot of
Out
holly
here,
making wreaths.
If you
and-
plant a holly out here, you have to worry about it because your neighbor probably doesn't have one, and
Yeah,
they're
right.
not growing native. So
No,
Yeah.
I don't even see holly here.
So Sharon, this is really interesting. So when you were working there, the guy you're talking about, is it the same guy that had the connections with that would ship the peach trees to
Yeah.
Yakima?
the same nursery, yeah.
Same nursery, but not the rose guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The
So you
rose
had the
guy
nursery
was-
in it, and it says that you basically fell in love with this idea and going to Yakima because you guys were shipping trees to this place called Yakima from Vermont. And then
Yep.
you said, let's go be orchardists. So you packed the dog and the cat in the car and the sewing machine.
My sewing machine and the bicycle upside down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You're like,
we had a
second star to the right,
Saab,
straight
we had
on
a
till
Saab
morning. Here
99.
So tell me what that's like. I mean, you guys
Yeah.
are just out of college, right?
Right.
Yeah, you don't have
Well,
kids
about a
yet.
year, I think.
Couple years, yeah.
I want to hear about these stops that you made that you said you wanted to see all the
Oh.
things. So what'd you go see?
Carlsbad Caverns.
So we went north up through Vermont
Yeah.
to begin with.
And then we
The
went
cat
down-
jumped out the window just before we
Yeah.
got to our friend's
Friend's
house
house.
in Putney, Vermont, and
It's like a Chevy Chase movie.
and,
Vacation.
and we didn't see her. We didn't see her go out the
Wait.
window.
What?
So
Yeah.
we got to we got to his house and the cat was gone. We didn't know anything.
The cat didn't want to go to Yakima.
Yeah, well,
she very quickly did. Yeah.
so we gave up on her and left without her. And a day or so later, my friend called and said, "My neighbor just said they saw a cat jump out of a car window."
And
So
she
we went
was-
back to get the cat. That cat.
That's
that cat,
hilarious.
whenever we got ready to pack up the car, that cat would jump in that car. It wasn't
She
going to
was
get
with
left
us.
behind again.
Funny.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Don't jump out the car.
Yep.
She'd go dig a little hole, do her thing, and jump in the car.
Still, till you get
That's
to Yakima.
hilarious. Okay,
That's a
so
traveling
you're
cat
so
right
here
there.
we go. You're on your journey. Are you
Yeah.
going to see the biggest yarn ball and the dinosaurs, or what are you doing?
Well, we had your sister,
Yeah, we went to
Michigan,
Michigan, saw my sister,
and saw that really big cider
big
mill.
cider mill in Franklin, Michigan, that kind of inspired the Orondo Cider Works only 20 or 30 years later.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
well,
what you said was part of your motivation for the cider works
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
We'll end up getting there, but you said it's like 3,000 miles across the country. You guys drove 10,000 miles.
Yep.
Right. Well,
zigzaggy.
Yeah.
Well, they had to go
we
back to
dropped
get the
down.
cat first.
And at the end of that ride, if you still get along, you're like, maybe we got a good thing here.
Yeah, we could do this.
That's right.
except when I got to Wenatchee, I visited with Dick Bartram,
No, that was Yakima, wasn't it?
no, that was Jim Ballard.
Oh, okay. So,
Dick Bartram in Wenatchee, he says, I said, well, I want to try growing fruit. He says, well, there's two ways. You either marry it or inherit it. And I said, gosh, I already chose my parents.
Uh-oh.
Whoops.
I'm not married yet, but we're kind of committed.
And she doesn't have an orchard.
yeah, that's right.
So, but anyway, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, her brother was going to the Air Force Academy
we
at the
visited
time, so
there.
we went to Colorado Springs,
Jeez.
and then we went down to Four Corners, and
And with the Carlsbad Caverns, I can't remember if we got to your aunt and uncle's. And we did an aunt and uncle in California. Of mine,
and we did Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
So
my-
did you guys have money, or were you just kind of
Yeah. What were you?
eating,
Yeah.
eating
A little.
bologna sandwiches at this point?
you know,
Well, we weren't eating high. Yeah.
I-
we had savings.
We could
but
we could make money go so easy then.
Yeah.
It was like, I mean, I would make
We were-
$600 a month, and I'd put half of it in the savings account. You know.
So you were frugal from day one. You
Oh,
were
yes.
Oh yeah.
a good saver. Well, that's how you ended up with all the stuff you ended up with and the lifestyle you had, probably.
Well, yeah.
The best way to be rich is not to need anything. You know.
Yeah, invest on the low and, or live on the low and invest on the
On
high or
high,
something
whatever.
like that.
something
Well,
like that.
I'm not so good about that. I've bought a couple orchards. One of them I bought at the very top of the market, and another one I bought at the very bottom. And if you ask me today, how do you tell the difference going in? I don't know. You know.
My dad said he didn't need to go to Vegas because he was an apple farmer. He gambled
That's
every
true.
day.
You don't need- yeah.
Exactly. And it's
Yeah.
a whole mentality that people don't understand.
They don't. Nor how could they if they weren't in that world? You know, a hailstorm later, you're.
I know. That's why I
done.
say you go out and you see a big cloud, and you know you're going, oh no, not today, please. So.
Yeah, the other famous. My dad was, I was an apple farmer through and through, right?
No, I knew your dad.
Yeah, and he said, if I won the lotto, I'd just farm till it was all gone. All farmers say the same things, right? Like,
Yeah.
they all kinda
There's
have
something
it.
about it.
Yeah, and it's a lifestyle that once you have it in your blood, I think it's really, which is hard for people now. It's so difficult to be a small farmer, if not impossible.
I think
know,
that's going towards impossible.
Yeah, no matter
Yeah.
what.
I
Right?
was very lucky to be able to live my dream. And
I remember when
what I
you
wanted
sold
to
your
do.
place, and I think we had a conversation right about that time. Was I even involved in that sale?
No, you weren't involved in the sale, but we bought the boat slip
Yeah.
Yeah,
not
from
too
you.
long after that.
Yeah, and I remember you telling me, we had a conversation, and maybe I'm not remembering it perfectly, but it was something like, it was a little bit of a, selling farms is a hard thing to do. It's a
Yeah.
little bit of a, this is a big decision, because this is like you're married to it. This is your
Yes.
whole life as a family. And I remember telling you, well, you do have a lot of other options. And then from there, I mean, we'll get there, but then you decide to be a sailboat captain around the world or something. Like, you guys are funny. I mean,
I know they make hard rights, hard lefts,
We were,
and just
yeah,
go.
that's what I say. We were going full speed ahead that way, and all of a sudden,
Whoop!
whoop! We
Yeah,
were,
it's like, oh, and now we're on a boat.
Yeah. And there
But,
you were.
you know, when Ovals made me an offer, I was kind of, well, I'm 60. I'm not really ready to retire yet. And then I came to my senses and said, well why not?
yeah, nobody ever went out of business making a ton of money. So you sold at the peak. That was good.
And we were first generation too, but we owned it. So
hard.
and it's hard, and it's so when they're 3 and 4 generations, that's where sometimes that history becomes really heavy
Yes.
on you.
Oh, yeah.
because,
It is.
Such
yeah.
a good point you make that way.
It
I mean,
is it does feel like a burden when you want change.
yeah, the
Or
guilt factor
you-
for a lot of kids
when you
growing up.
feel like
Yeah.
you can't see a future in it. Like you said, right now it's so hard as a small farmer, and you're either going to lose it or can you sell it?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that
And
we
either
ended up
way.
going out of business in about the late 90s. That crop year 98 was one that was pretty horrific. And we were always like, my dad raised 3 kids on like 15 acres. Did all, it was that size where you either stayed that size or you could do a lot yourself and keep the cost down. And then it worked. I was just looking at I was cleaning out a shed today and I saw that he was #1 in trout or blue schland for Goldens in like 1983, and it was almost $7 a box.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about the expenses, how low they were. I mean, if you got $7 a box now, you'd be doing good. And so it just comparatively speaking, how much the cost side of the equation has changed, and how diversity doesn't always mean it's going to be better.
Right.
Chasing that next variety and planting $80,000 an acre, and I mean, it's just wild. But when you guys came out here, what I thought was fascinating about your entrepreneurship spirit is you had that cider works from your travels, correct? Did you figure that out on the way here? Things that you saw, or was that where you were from?
There was a lot of cider up in Vermont that was always sold, and then seeing that really super big one in Michigan, where people were just coming out with their sack of donuts and their jug of cider, and it's like,
Yeah.
hey, that would be so fun. And then there was very little cider,
Right.
if any, out in this region.
So let's put it in perspective. So in 1979 is when you went back, you got
We
married,
got married, yeah,
but you'd already been out here for a while.
about a year, yeah.
So you decided to go back home, get married back
Yep.
home,
Back in the old church.
in the
Yeah.
old church. There you go. And then you came out and you bought your first orchard. Was that in Orondo?
It was.
Okay. Tell me about that. Tell me how that all went down.
Well, I was managing an orchard for a doctor, and that was my job I got when I was out here. But then we went in with my dad and an attorney from Yakima
And
the doctor, and we bought a 50-acre orchard down on the Columbia River.
Would that be in the early 80s?
Reds and Goldens? Yeah, that would be 1980.
Ooh, Reds and
right
Goldens.
right after Mount St. Helens blew up.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
And that's a big orchard. That's a big jump to go right into 50 acres in 1980.
Yeah, and it was It was a orchard that we bought it from Perry Brothers, but Perry Brothers had bought it from McCulley and Larkin and Brownfield. And, so you know those names.
I do. Roy, Roy and Brownfield still farming. Mike Brownfield, right? Still farming Howard Flats.
Yeah.
Beautiful farm.
And I bought when I was in my early 20s. I bought Doug Clearwater's pear orchard.
Oh yeah.
Which is above Otto Ross's home place. So I built the first house above that, which is about 3 miles south of the BB Bridge.
Okay.
But Doug, it was so rocky and so many rattlesnakes, we decided to pull the pear trees and plant houses. That was actually my first real estate development.
Yeah, all right.
But when Otto was on, we talked about the rattlesnakes. That there's so many.
Over there?
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah. Yikes.
So many.
We're on the other side of the highway. They must not make it across.
Yeah, it's
We're
weird.
We get the bull snakes.
You get the bull snakes?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like every time you're changing water. And I don't know if you remember Doug's orchard, but it was so rocky. Like we had to have special mowers that were jacked up like 4x4s. And my dad was funny, most farmers are very meticulous about everything they do, and I'm was kind of built for speed, I think, back then. And my dad and I, we tied the whole 15 acres. I think it was 10 acres of D'Anjos and 5 acres of Bartlett's, and they had grown straight up, and so we had to spread them with twine. So then by the time the next year came around, all that twine had kind of got into the ground, and then we had no real grass. It was all rocks. But I would always mow up the twine and get it in the bearings.
Oh, yeah.
And so my dad, he's like, get under there and, be very careful. And so I'm like in my early 20s. And I'm like,
very
I got a softball game to go to, and I'm trying to mow at 800 miles an hour over the rocks. And my dad's really always, not liking that. And so I come up with this idea. You'll appreciate this, Chuck. I'm like, I know. I'm going to back it up because it was like every 5 minutes I had to the twine got caught in the bearings. And so I backed it up over a loading ramp so I didn't have to crawl under it with all the snakes. So at least I could see there was no snakes because every time I get on the ground, so I didn't like that. And then I got a blowtorch and a knife, those little handleable torches, and I burned the twine, and it worked great until I burned the bearings.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Then I get $500. He's like,
I don't know. Like, what if you just went and picked up the twine first?
Cotton
acres.
twine is what you should have been using, not that nylon stuff.
I use a nylon stuff. Yeah, see, smart guy.
I'm smart because I learned it the hard way.
Exactly. Like most farmers.
Yeah, I just thought I'm fixing it with a torch.
Oh my, okay.
Anyway, you got to
That
be a
sounds
farmer
about
to appreciate that one. But yeah, didn't like the rattlesnakes either. So tell me about that. So you have partners, and partners in business is not always easy. Did you find it worked out?
Well, if it was making money, it was easy.
That's a great answer.
That seems to be true.
But at
in
one
life.
point, it wasn't doing so well. We had that was when interest rates went sky high, inflation went down, and interest went up, and
Jimmy Carter.
For the 10 years before that, everybody that jumped into debt came out smelling like a rose because they were borrowing at low interest, and inflation was making whatever they bought more valuable. And we jumped in with both feet in 1980, looking back in the rearview mirror, it looked like a good idea, but then it all flipped upside down, and our net worth was below zero for a while. The bank didn't bother to pull the plug on me because there wasn't anything there for them to grab.
Yeah,
so,
right.
It's like...
I had a large farmer told me once, this was years ago when he was huge, he goes, here's the key, Russ. You just got to get so big, so complicated that the bank's your partner, not your bank.
Well, if I'm losing sleep, I want my banker to be losing sleep too.
He's not going to foreclose. He doesn't know how to run it. So
this guy's still trying, so we'll just let him keep trying.
Because we don't want to be farming it.
Did you guys have operating lines?
Oh, yeah.
So did you have living expenses built in the beginning? Your operating lines?
I think mostly I depended on my outside work for the living expenses.
Oh, that sounds about right.
And Sharon's income. So,
Yeah.
But I always have had an orchard to manage, and actually in '84 started the orchard management business. And
Yeah, tell me what what led into that and how that's such a genius move too when you really think about having that more stable income.
Well, the diversification, everything I did my whole life was diversification. I own some, I lease some, I manage some. We have all apples. Well, we plant some new varieties of apples, so let's plant some cherries, let's plant some pears. I was the biggest strawberry grower in Douglas County for a while, but you don't have to grow very many strawberries to be the biggest one in Douglas County.
Side note. Yeah, that's fine. Waterville's the biggest city.
Yeah.
What was the motivation, or how did the opportunity, besides the vision of the cider company, because you built the cider company first, which was a fairly smaller building, wasn't it, to begin? Or did you go right into
we went right in, yeah.
Well, we added on to it after a couple of years with a cold storage, but the entire retail area was part of the original
What year was
stuff.
that? I'm trying to remember.
2003.
So you were farming up until there's a point in time where you remembered that all these bigger cider companies, and was there a tourism component that, like your diversity theory? I'm just kind of curious how
there were a
decided.
couple things that came into place. One thing, I had neighbors that weren't apple growers. I mean, 30, 40 years ago, all my neighbors were apple growers. People wouldn't drive all the way from Seattle just to spend the weekend in the sunshine. But now all of a sudden there's a population that to serve.
Because you were right at the entrance of Sun Cove, Lake Indiana Estates.
Yeah.
And it's still there, for sure.
And the county changed the zoning on it in January of 2003, and it made it possible for us to do a conditional use permit and get it. So actually our application for the conditional use permit was filed the same day that the zoning changed.
Smart.
You're like, hey,
We were watching
let's
that.
jump on this.
They were ready.
So it became what they call rural service unit. Or
Rural service area.
So you could do that. And they actually changed half of the zoning on our orchard could go to half acre.
Yeah, well, you guys were like the original ag tourism before wineries.
There was a lot. There was quite a
there?
few
There were a lot
wineries
of
because
wineries
wineries
then,
really
too.
helped us too because at that point the county regulations wanted us to put up trees to be a barrier to the orchard around the store, and there was a landscape architect who'd been working with the wineries fighting that same thing, is because why would you want to come to a winery
And block off the
and
grapes.
and the same thing, so that he was very instrumental in helping to say no, that one doesn't make sense.
Well, I remember it started. I bought Bernice McCauley's company in '99,
Oh, okay.
Exland Properties.
Yeah.
So I remember right in there, and we sold the land to Bob Jenkelson, and that was kind of the Steve Kloot, Bob Christopher, Bob Jenkelson, all those guys. That was like in 2000 probably.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was, you were right in that beginning of that ag tourism.
Yep.
And I remember both counties were really kind of trying to figure out after that crop year of '98, what are we going to do with all these farmers? They're going to go out of business. And so I think it was like Buell Hawkins, and I can't remember who else was involved.
When did Blueberry Hills get going?
That was right in that
Right
area.
in that
right?
same time frame.
Because I remember she had a bunch of fights. They had a bunch of fights on their hands
Well,
too.
and those fights made it harder for us.
Yeah.
Oh,
when people didn't do it according,
Oh, I see. Because in the
Then-
beginning it was on-farm, non-farm income.
Yeah.
So I think there was guys that were mechanics like Danny and Jeanette Crum.
Right.
Open up a mechanic shop where we below us on an orchard, and they were just the county was saying, hey, look, we're going to let you guys go do some jobs besides farming so you don't lose your farm.
yeah.
And so everybody was in support of it. And then I think, if I'm hearing you right, when people didn't follow through correctly, maybe they would be like, oh, well, now Chuck.
now we're really going to
Sharon.
watch you. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a problem with him, so but we're not going to let that happen with you.
Yeah.
But those were some, what Blueberry Hills did was an amazing, gutsy move, because that was blazing the trail.
Seriously
for so
gutsy.
many.
I feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
because a bunch of
And-
people got mad.
Oh yeah.
Well, and you had narrow roads there.
But a lot of people
and
were in
you have
support.
a lot of people that were going to come and use them. and that's where your county gets worried. Like we had to deal a lot with transportation was kind of our easiest because
You're on the
we
highway.
already had, and Sun Cove had the entrance to the highway there, and so.
Well, I know this because I sold the land to, I worked for North Cascades Bank that had got land back, and I did some land home packages for them at the time, and I sold the land next to Blueberry Hills.
Okay.
Before they built Blueberry Hills. So the guy I sold to was like, what?
I don't want this.
I don't want
next
this.
to
And
me.
then there was a hearing at that time because everybody was feeling the pain,
Yeah.
the economic stress. The vast majority of the people were in favor, showed up in arms and said, we want you to approve this. And it's one of those moments that I look back in time with land use that we don't have that anymore. We have the people, the gentrification has occurred, and we're struggling now with the workers,
Yes.
what we call essential workers, the regular hospitality, nurses, cops, teachers. They're busy, and they're not necessarily showing up in droves at city council meetings, yet land use is still very, very important.
Yeah.
And the people that are showing up are like, don't build another house. Which, guess what, makes all the houses here pretty expensive. So it's interesting to go from what you guys experienced with building one of the first ag tourism hybrids to now where tourism is almost a bad word, depending on who you are.
Let's talk about those donuts, though.
There's,
Kind of miss the donuts, you guys. I'm not going to
Sorry.
lie. Kind of miss the apple cider
my,
donuts.
My grandmother was the inspiration for those. My
Well,
Yeah.
God bless your
The other
grandmother,
one.
because those
was that
were
her
amazing.
recipe? Was that?
Well, not exactly,
yeah.
but she was definitely the inspiration, and she used to make them, just form them and push them in and fry them right in a pan, and it was pretty simple operation. But
It's cute.
the donuts were always popular.
You think? I mean, we're all driving from Manson to Orondo. No one is driving from Manson to Orondo for anything
Right.
before there were donuts.
That's true. They would call me up.
When we were doing advertising, it was so hard to get people in Chelan and Manson to drive down the Douglas County side. If we advertised in Omak and Pateros, we'd get lots of response to our ads.
Well, that's an international bridge right there.
Yeah.
There's a border there.
Yeah, it's like, oh, the other side.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, Chelan, it was hard to get them to go over to that Douglas County side.
Well, maybe for the first time.
Yeah, okay.
But
Well,
at the second time, I think they were eager.
we'd have some very good fans. Earl Miller used to be.
I loved it when my dad would go play golf at Desert Canyon.
Oh,
okay.
yeah, okay.
Because it was like, hey,
That was
you're
a
bringing
big
back
deal.
donuts, right?
That's a huge deal.
Huge.
So you guys, when you have 4 daughters, how old are they now, or what are they doing now?
Born in 83, 86, and 89. So
Yeah, we had twins in '89. So,
Oh, wow.
And everybody lives in the state. Hannah's, so she's the second daughter. She and her family live over in Spokane. Our oldest daughter lives right next door, and then one lives up on top of Badger Mountain, and the other one is in Wenatchee.
So they were in teenage years when you guys opened up. Were they worker bees for you?
Oh, they were very
Yes,
involved
yes,
in the construction
yes.
process and
Planning,
starting it up.
yeah.
And I remember setting Laurel up with, we had a refrigerated milk tank, a 300-gallon milk tank that we filled it up with cider. And we didn't have any bottling equipment at that time. She had a gallon pitcher and a whole pile of jugs. And
that first time around,
and she
we're not
she
sure
and her
what kind
sister
of equipment we want.
she and her sister bottled that whole 300 gallons.
Did you ever get at the end of the day when they're in their 17, 16, like, wait a minute, we're a bottle short?
No, I wouldn't have known.
I'm just
They were the best pair of workers I ever had, because I don't know whether it was a twin thing or they just
now, were they
could
identical
work-
or fraternal?
identical. But it would be like, this one would know she was doing this, and the other would know, okay, now I need to do this, and it's like, you've got that going and I'll do this, and
Is that
they'd
symbiotic?
be done. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny,
So-
isn't it? So my
Love
sister had identical twins too, and boy, he can get away with murder. Our kids were, those boys were boys.
Oh, well, yeah.
And it's probably a wild ride for them growing up. So now, which ones have the children, or how old are the grandkids?
Our oldest daughter, who lives next door, has 2 boys that are 12 and 9. And that's Allison. Hannah has 3 children. She has a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, so almost 13 and almost 12. And then my daughter Noelle lives up on Badger, has a 5-year-old and I'm sorry, he just turned 3 yesterday. 6. I'm sorry. She has a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old.
So there's a lot of grandsons in there.
Yeah, yes, we had all our
two
the first
granddaughters. Yeah.
the first grandson. We were like, what do you do with one of these guys?
That's funny.
I didn't know a baby could pee on the ceiling.
You know what? You learn a lot when you have a boy as a girl, I feel like. Yeah, I'm like, wow, there are so many things that I didn't know before. And then I think there's a lot of things about men that all of a sudden make a little bit more sense.
Boys rule and girls drool.
No, that's not how it goes.
See, she knows. She gets it. Yeah.
I'm teasing. What was that in the cartoon somewhere? My kids watched that cartoon.
I don't
It wasn't
know.
yours? Yeah, I just remember watching the VHS tapes. We watched so many.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We're into Bluey. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I've heard of that one, too.
I watched my grandson's stuff, and I'm like, what in?
I'm going to say my vote is Bluey is the least annoying one that he
Minecraft
watches.
is one that they like a lot.
No.
Oh, yes.
That is like
Yeah.
crack.
Yeah, it's like weird.
Crack.
Yes, I have the kids in Spokane do a lot of Minecraft.
And they have to have each other playing too, or else find out someone else is playing from somewhere else on the internet.
I don't know how I feel. That's a whole other topic. I don't know how I feel about Minecraft.
It
I'm a
is
little
weird
nervous.
to watch them be able to do things before they can speak on like an iPad.
Yes.
That's
It's like they come out able to punch those buttons.
Yeah, my other thing, my daughter's an audiologist, right? So she signs, and that was weird to watch.
No.
Like the kid's like not even barely over 1, and he's signing, you know.
Yeah.
And they can't speak. You're
I
like,
didn't
wait
do
a
that,
minute.
but that's cool.
Yeah.
Moms that do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, our first grandson did some signing, and he didn't talk as early. And then then his sister pops out, and she's like full sentences at half his age.
There's no 2 kids that are like.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Even identical twins.
Yeah,
I mean,
Did they
have different
their
personalities?
temperaments
Okay.
were different from the start.
That's
Oh,
interesting.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandsons are opposites. Complete
Yeah.
opposite. Every
Yeah.
way.
Isn't that interesting, the whole nature versus nurture component of life? Because
Yeah.
you think it's a lot of nature, but I don't know, man.
It's a mix. It's
It is
just
a
gotta be
mix.
a mix.
So you sell, and what'd you say? What year was that? Not 2000.
15, 16.
Yeah.
Right on there.
Is that when
Right
you
on the
headed to
cusp.
Mexico, or you?
We bought the boat in March of 2016
And
and
then
spent 9 months getting it ready to go.
And this is kind of a
let's talk about
throwback
that.
to Annapolis, right? Because you used to be into
Well,
sailing when you
I've
were a
sailed
kid.
over the years, and I've been really smart up until then. I sailed other people's sailboats,
Aha.
and I had friends that had sailboats, and one friend he would thank me when I'd use his sailboat because he didn't have time to go over to the Port of Everett and take his sailboat out. And I'd always leave it a little better than I found it,
Sure.
but he'd pay all the expenses.
Okay, so I see. That was smart.
Yeah.
Because
Take
boats
Then we
are
bought
expensive.
one, yeah.
Then I bought one. Then I bought another one. And,
Did you have experience sailing internationally when you were borrowing your buddies' boats?
no, I had never sailed outside the United States before.
Until then, and then
Yeah.
you decided, let's take 9 months. Let me just put this in perspective. Let's
Okay.
build a boat.
No, we didn't
Bought-
build it.
we
We
bought
But it took 9 months to.
it was a 40-year-old boat.
So you had to refurbish it.
do
We
some-
refurbished it. Did a lot of work on it.
How big
This
was
is
it?
when that boating license comes into play.
It's a 44-foot,
Pretty good
30,000
size boat.
30,000 pound.
It's a ocean-going boat. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
then you guys went through Mexico, you went through the Panama Canal.
No, we did not do the Panama.
You didn't
We,
do that.
yeah,
We
that
You
got-
were
was,
gonna.
We
that
got
was somebody else's
we got
bucket
it. We
list
got as far
item.
as Costa Rica, and the humidity was
unbearable.
unbearable. Yes, my mental health was declining. I don't like humidity.
I see. Halfway through Costa Rica, we decided.
Yep, that's
Well,
I mean,
I've been
it was
through the
eight-
canal, and
well-
let me tell you, after you see it happen once, you're like, okay, but then you have to do it a bunch more times. Kind of boring.
Why
Kinda
do you have
boring.
to do it a bunch more times?
Because it's locks.
Oh, I see what. Yeah.
So you get into one, and the water raises up, and then that door opens, and then you move into the next one, and you go, and then you did it, and all the way through, and you're like, this is gonna take a long time.
And you could, and my
You
30,
can't just turn around. You gotta like go through it
Yeah.
at this point.
and my
like, you're in it.
44-foot boat could all of a sudden look pretty small next to
A
'cause you
huge
go through
freighter.
Groups. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
we became aware it was not going to be this
It's more-
romantic notion that you imagine. It's much more industrial.
Yeah.
And then you said
Smart.
you were one of the last boats to make it into Nicaragua
We
before
were
the border
before
went.
they, well, they still would let you in, but you had to have health workers come on and check you out before they would let you come on the land.
Oh, because of COVID.
COVID,
Yeah.
yeah.
So for me, one of my bucket lists is I have this vision that I'm in a sailboat, which I've never really been on a sailboat,
Oh boy.
and
This already started.
Did your wife know this?
huh?
Okay.
And I'm going really fast, and the water is very calm, and a whole school of tuna is swimming right by me. Did that ever happen to you?
Not too.
Well, the
turtles,
one,
but not.
the one problem is you said you're going
You're
very fast and
in
it's
a
very
sailor's-
calm.
Yeah, that was. I
You're
thought
You're
that.
killing my dream, Chuck.
Those two don't happen at the same
I wonder I haven't
time.
done it yet.
Let them bring your dream into reality.
Maybe
Right
I'll-
here,
maybe-
right
But we-
now.
Maybe I want to power sail.
But we have been sailing at night when a dolphin was swimming beside us and the phosphorescent jellyfish were lit up and you could see the silhouette of the dolphin in the phosphorescence. And that is
That's very
special.
And
That
stars
would be
just
amazing.
And
powerful.
the stars, yeah, like you can see the reflection of one star out on the water, and if it's you got any moon on there, it's like you don't need lights hardly.
Oh
And,
my gosh.
So
and
let's.
if one of those big cruise ships shows up on the horizon, it looks like New York City's kind of come at you. I mean, they are that bright.
and those sunsets probably on the ocean out in the middle of
You know, I
Yeah,
still want
I
to see a green flash,
flash.
though. I have not seen the
Oh,
green
just go to
flash.
Hawaii.
Well, I've been everywhere,
Yeah,
man. Just
keep
haven't,
looking.
haven't seen one yet.
Yeah.
But, one of
Dang.
these days.
Yeah.
So those were some romantic times. What were some of the scary times? Because that's the problem with my wife is
Yeah, you want to keep scaring her?
The problem
I'm
with
saying
her.
smooth water in the ocean. It's fine.
The
Did you have rough
we
seas?
did not have problems. We've had some rough seas. We never had like really bad problems, and never were caught in storms or anything. We do know it happens. It happens.
Oh, we
but we were.
intentionally rode a storm once.
Yeah, you did. Right? You kind of.
You
Yeah.
forgot to tell her.
You didn't tell me what.
Well,
it,
we were
She's
in
like,
La,
this sounds fun.
we were in La Paz, and my daughter Hannah and her whole family were with us, as well as a babysitter they had with her. So there was 4 kids and 2 more adults, so there were 8 of us on board. And we wanted to go north. Well, in that time of year, the wind usually is coming from the north, but there was this forecast for a storm coming in from the south. When we knew La Paz, the port captain there, he would close the port down and we couldn't leave. So we got out of La Paz before he closed the port, and we anchored for the night, and then we pulled up the anchor and rode,
north.
started going north, and the storm came and blew us a little farther north pretty quick. It was
I think we
40
to
to
50.
45 to 50 knots of wind. And we ended up going hove to, which is where you basically set your 2 sails so they're fighting each other, and
Slow down.
it just keeps
just
it
sit
keeps
there.
your nose pointed into the wind, and you just ride it out. And it rained for, it just dumped for about a half hour, and we had a pretty good and then it went flat calm. We had to motor the last little bit to get where we were
The
going.
last 2 hours. It was like, yeah, we were going so well. We could have got there in half an hour if the wind had kept up. But
Quite an adventure.
yeah,
How
So-
long did that last? That traveling?
that day, that was just.
No, just the whole sailboat adventure.
We did 7 seasons, 7 winters of being down there, 4 to 5 months. We would usually come home for some skiing, snowboarding, and
You guys have an ambition problem.
I know. Don't they?
I think not even just
yes, we
What's
do.
this about Orondo,
We gotta
man?
cut it. I keep trying
it's
to
not
cut
even
him
just
back.
ambition. It's just like also adventure. Like you guys are
Adventure.
just like
Just let's do that.
you're
Oh,
like
let's do
there's
that.
no boxes for you.
do
You're
that.
like everything's an option.
Yes is the word that gets me into a lot of adventures. You just say yes. You know.
I learned that.
I've traveled all over the world on other people's money just because I was willing to say yes. You know.
So there was a little, I think I read a little part in there where your kids said, "Nah, stay on the boat."
Oh,
Well, that was when
COVID.
we got back to Mexico in Chiapas, right on the Guatemala border, and we were going to leave the boat there for the summer and come home. Except that was March of 2020, which is when
March.
Seattle
The
was
March.
kind of like COVID central.
Yes, it was.
Yep.
And the kids said, "You know, you should just stay where you are. You don't come back here." And
Right.
we said, "Okay." Well, so then we used the next couple of months and sailed farther north, and we were in Zihuatanejo over Semana Santa, which is Holy Week, and usually that's when all of Mexico shuts down and goes to the beach. Well, the beaches in Zihuatanejo were completely empty, aside from maybe an officer or two with a rifle.
Walking the beach, making sure they were empty.
And they would, one of us could go in the dinghy and get provisions, but we couldn't both go in. And I went in one day and right in the center of the town, and I'm looking down the street and there's not another human being out there.
Weird feeling.
It was so weird. But there were some vendors there selling stuff, and nobody looked real scared about COVID. But I would say the culture in Mexico is much more compliant than the U.S. There was no resistance to wearing masks. Nobody saying the government can't force me to wear a mask. We only ran into that when we got back to L.A. We flew in. We got back to Loreto and left the boat there, and
We had a
we
flight
had a
out of-
reservation
yeah.
flying out of Loreto, but Alaska canceled that, and so we had to go down to Cabo to catch a flight, and there was like 15 people on a jumbo jet,
Whoa.
and we flew into LA, and imagine going into LA airport and the local workers say, "Oh, did you just come in from Cabo?" Because there was that few flights coming in, and everybody knew what just landed.
Wow.
It's like
Weird.
Such a weird time.
you know, LAX is.
It was empty. I mean,
was
we
empty.
were the only flight going through the.
Oh, that's wild. 'Cause that's a booming place.
Yeah. And walking through like a giant empty airport, basically.
Yeah. So
And in that time, you sold your house in 2020 here that you would come back to, and then you guys decided to get a Greyhound bus.
it's a 1970 MCI. It was a
It's
Greyhound
Greyhound.
for 20 years, and then a guy converted it to a motorhome, and he did a
He
big.
did a nice
He
job. It
did
was
a big
sturdy
job.
stuff. Yeah.
He put residential windows in it, and he raised it up 18 inches. He put a whole new skin on it.
Oh
so
my.
It doesn't
Yeah.
look
This is
like
a full rent out.
it doesn't look
Yeah.
like a bus. It looks like a
House on
rock,
wheels.
a rock star's
Yeah.
travel bus.
Were you guys inspired by the Partridge Family growing up?
Yeah.
And
No, we were inspired by.
but it was a reasonable.
You have to look
It
that
was-
up, kids.
It was very reasonably priced. I was inspired by the green.
Frugal.
Yeah. And we didn't. Yeah, we weren't
It
quite
has-
ready to build.
The guy was a trucker that did it, and he had changed the motor out, put in 500 horsepower motor and the transmission, and the motor would come out of a truck where the transmission sits behind the motor normally, but because he put it in the bus, the shift pattern became upside down and backwards. So
Had to get used to it.
yeah, first
And
is
it's
down
13
here.
gears, yeah.
It's a 13-speed Road Ranger, so your average housewife isn't going to be
You're not going to see me driving this.
not going to want to drive it through Chelan. So anyway,
Well, what's the key? You guys have been married, what, 45 years?
Pretty close, somewhere in 79.
79,
It's
46
It'll be
coming up.
46 in September.
So you've traveled around the world. You've been sailboats. You've been RVs. You've been
Driven
farmers.
across the
10,000
country.
miles together. So you must be able to get along in a tight
Sometimes, yeah.
tight spaces.
Yeah.
So what's
sometimes
the
we've traveled separately.
Yeah.
You had to take a plane home. Sorry, dude. So I'm sugarcoating it. I get it. Okay. We can pretend. So what's the key? What's the key when everybody gets divorced? How did you guys stay married 45 years?
I don't think we ever considered any alternative.
Yeah, we just
It's
sort of-
commitment, the
yeah.
big C, commitment.
We
Oh,
felt like we had to
voluntary?
make it work out. Yep. And I really
They were so
do like
busy.
him. Yeah.
And you really liked it.
I really do
That
like
always
him.
helps
Yeah.
when you like each other. Sometimes you love them but
You know-
don't like them, and sometimes you like them but don't love them.
Yeah, that's true.
So-
You gotta do both.
some marriages, and two of my daughters have a marriage where it's two peas in a pod. You know, they're like they
Wow.
married their
Commonality.
Yeah.
And then there's
We're
other
not quite
marriages
there.
that are more like opposites attract, and I'm afraid we're more in that category.
You are.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting. So when you're opposites attracted, so you have to give and take a lot.
If
Yeah.
I was married to somebody just like me, it would never have lasted.
Yeah, I
It's
know
probably
No way.
you have to be more flexible. Yes.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So what are the like? If you take all that, what are the like the top few memories of the sailboat? Like what jumps right out? Like besides
Yeah.
that fluorescent, that's pretty
That
incredible.
was
yeah.
pretty incredible.
That's pretty incredible. Like the
you
people.
mentioned-
Did you see a lot of different people? Cities?
Yes,
Yeah.
a lot of different folks along the way. There are a lot of them are from the U.S. or Canada.
But it's global. There's a whole cruising community,
Yeah.
and the cruisers,
Right.
Yep,
and
there
you
were some Argentinians.
see people that you see them in Costa
This
Rica, and then
port
all
and-
of a sudden you see them in Guatemala or
Like,
something.
oh, hey.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so yeah, it's a pretty tight knit community.
Pretty generous with people helping each other.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Lots of communication. And,
Yeah.
Well, what's on the agenda next then?
Yeah, really.
I don't know.
Well, geez, they just said they're accidental hay farmers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
talk about that.
Well, we came back and building a house. I was
we're
the
still
general
not-
contractor, and so I mean that kind of sucked up all the energy that sailing in Mexico took. So that was a pretty big project, and someday it'll get finished.
Yeah, and hay's a diversion from it, sort of. Yeah.
But I don't know. We don't. What is next? You got any ideas?
We've got grandkids to follow, I think. Yeah. and,
They're in that age where they're going to be
Yeah.
sports and
Yep.
recital.
I'm getting a lot more snowboarding in the wintertime.
Well,
Now,
that's fun.
I was going to
Yeah.
ask you guys. You seem very fit, very athletic. What's the key to that? Like active?
For me, yeah, just keep working.
never stop. Don't slow down.
Same
Yeah,
as
get out
farming.
of bed, yeah.
You just have to be too stupid to quit.
Yeah.
You just keep
Yeah.
going. You got every good reason to quit. I
Yeah.
mean, when didn't you have a good reason to quit? But
Life,
you just
right?
keep doing it.
Persistence.
When I had my hip replaced at age 46.
Oh wow, that was young.
That was young. I had a major surgery at age 38 where they revised my parts, and then I got the hip replacement at 46. But that's when I changed to snowboarding because I thought it'd probably be better if my feet weren't going like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried snowboarding. That's hard.
Snowboarding. See, I gave up snowboarding because of that. I didn't want to fall anymore.
Yeah.
It's a tough learning curve.
Yeah.
But once I got over the learning curve, I love it. But
And you're still doing it.
I want to teach my great grandkids how to snowboard.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Do you guys travel in the winter to go to different mountains, or do you?
We did this year. We did quite a bit, actually. We went back east and did some in Vermont and New Hampshire and a little bit in New York.
Are you a snowboarder too?
No, I ski.
You ski.
I have not moved over.
She hasn't gone over to the dark side.
Don't do it now. Don't
Maybe
do
that's
it.
next.
Don't do it now.
After those comments from Otto, I was pestered, and so I have new skis as of this past season.
I see, because he said that the
Because yes,
Older
These
people
aren't
have
as
long
long.
skis.
They're not shorter.
So do you
Oh
have-
my
what are
gosh,
they
they're
called?
amazing
Parabolics,
now.
or what are they called?
oh, they're shaped. Yeah,
Pair-
shaped.
something.
I don't know if they. Yeah,
They're
I
just
mean,
shaped.
they
They're
just call them
shorter. They're
skis,
shaped.
yeah.
You literally don't fall.
Yeah,
You don't
these-
catch
yeah,
edges.
I thought
Sure.
it was very hard to give up the ones I had, and I
Sure.
can't tell you. I think they probably were close to 20 years, but I'm like, these don't let me fall very often, and then
Very often.
these new ones.
They're
I-
amazing.
yeah,
They're
it's-
they
and
really
were-
are.
I had shaped skis too, and now I have different. They're just slightly different.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Sometimes technology really does make a difference.
Yeah.
And in skis, I'm going to say yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
So are you on the hay farm with the RV? Is that where you're living now?
And we got our house there. Yeah,
Your
with
house.
the hay. Yeah.
We finished our new house.
You built your
Yeah.
house. That's
It's an
right.
old people house. There's not a bump, a step. There's not a step in the whole place. The doors
So
are
we're rambling
36
now.
inches
Yeah.
wide. The
slab on grade,
it's not
No,
a
we
slab,
didn't
but
get to
but
do
it
that.
is on grade.
stem wall.
Um, we used SIP panels, the same as
Oh.
we used for the cider works.
Okay, yeah, that was new when you did the cider works. That was
Yeah.
new technology.
It was
Pretty
pretty new.
Yeah.
We upgrade. Yeah. We just did.
But we
walls
did
on-
the first cider works we just did the walls. With this house we did the walls and the lid and the floor. They're all SIP
Oh,
panels.
cool.
And that house is so tight.
Yes.
I burned about 2.5 apple bins full of apple wood to heat all winter.
And you had that done before the new energy code. That is. Is that
No,
with
that
the-
was.
that was
no. Yes. You don't want me to go there.
I'd love you to go there.
Well, the energy,
Yeah.
we had to fill out all that energy code stuff, and actually, you have to have your house tested to see if it's how tight it is, and
Yep.
since I was listed as a general contractor when the tester came out, they didn't have real high expectations, but when she looked at her computer and said, "Wow, you blew that out of the water."
Yeah.
That house is so tight.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Because you make them so tight, and then you got to do
Well,
a
that's
different
what she
heating.
kept
element.
saying. Yeah, she,
Right, because
she
then
went
you
out
have to
the
have
door
airflow.
saying at least 3 times, "You're going to need to open windows. You're going to need to open windows."
Yeah, they now make you have like special like vents and stuff just so
Yeah,
it helps
right,
with
right.
the
It's
airflow.
a heat exchanger that
Yeah.
so the air going out exchanges heat with the air coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I run it at nighttime in the summertime when it's cooler, and I run it in the daytime in the wintertime when it's warmer outside. But it's working.
Yeah, where I see it is just the cost.
Yeah.
Unnecessary expenses. When we're, on one hand of the government, we're trying to solve the essential worker housing,
Yeah,
affordable
and
housing
it-
problem. Let's add 30% to every house. Like,
And then take
I
a
don't-
problem that they say is a problem and then just treat it. I mean,
And
if
in
your
Douglas County,
house
we got
leaks
the
air,
cheapest-
It's the same difference.
Cheapest
Yeah.
electricity. I mean, there's no economic justification in Douglas County for that.
no, one size fits all for the whole state.
But
And
Yeah.
then, have you heard the sticker? You think it's going to be just this little thing, but it's a full 8.5 by 11 sheet. And I got the job of filling it out, and I was just terrified. I was
For
like,
the
"Oh
energy
my,
code."
For the energy code. And then our one daughter that lives in Wenatchee is an architect, and she's like,
That
"Don't
helps.
worry, nobody's going to." And so finally she helped me with these numbers, because I went around to every appliance, like my dishwasher. I had to go get what that energies
Oh,
was
my.
and everything. And the final inspection, the guy goes, "Oh yeah, stick that somewhere, maybe on your water heater." I mean, that's all the attention it got.
So you
And
could have just maybe
I
made
could,
it up.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what most contractors do.
We're not gonna say that, but that
Yeah.
could be a
Allegedly.
thing
You
that
just
could
did.
have. You could just attempt it and see what
Yeah,
happens.
See what happens. Yeah, they'll
then,
just give you another
know,
one if they don't
Exactly. They'll be like,
it.
"Oh, this isn't filled out right. You're missing a number. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll redo it. You can come back later."
Yep.
So you have 200 acres of hay.
It feels that way.
You have your home built. Man, I'm curious what you asked.
I know. We're just gonna have to wait.
Gonna do some
See.
snowboarding.
Gonna do some grandkid chasing.
Grandkid chasing's a
Yeah.
big deal.
I still have a living step-parent in Vermont, and so he'll be 94 in December. So.
Oh wow.
And just starting to have some health issues, so
Whoa.
so that's probably going to take a little focus. Yeah.
I was wondering if there was a bunch of back east family.
My brother lives in Virginia with his family mostly. So yeah.
Well, give me one bucket list that you have that you haven't done. 'Cause you guys have done a lot.
Yeah.
I'd go to the Arctic Circle and see the
Northern Lights.
Northern Lights from where you hear them.
That'd be cool.
You hear them?
I didn't even know you could hear them.
Yeah.
Might need to become a musher, but that's okay.
Wow.
Iceland was sort of on the list for a while, but right now I'm letting it be.
Yeah, traveling right now is a little interesting, I bet. Some parts of the world,
Yeah,
a little bit sketchy.
I would be cautious. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Any regrets from reading that National Geographic magazine back?
You know, the scary thing is that, you know, I made decisions as a teenager about, you know, what I liked and what I didn't like and what I wanted my life to be like and how I wanted it to be the same as my parents or how I wanted it to be different. The scary thing is, looking back at it, how many of those decisions that I made when I was a teenager have come to fruition. You know, my dad, he worked in an office and he had a very segmented life. He had his work life and he had his home life, and somehow I came up with the idea that I wanted my life to be integrated more. Mm-hmm. And as a farmer, I could do that. You know, I mean, I drive the semi in through the high school parking lot and pick up my kids, you know.
Give them jobs at the side of work. You know.
So
It's a privilege to be able to let your kids work right now because the legal age is so much older.
And there were times when I questioned it, you know, boy, it sure would be nice if I just had a job where I could check in and punch out.
Yep.
You know.
You don't leave work at work when you're a farmer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I like the idea. I mean, I feel like real estate for me is just a passion. It's like I told Desiree, you probably know Desiree Phelps.
Yeah.
Jim Sackett's and Marge's daughter. We grew up next door to each other, and she works with me in the real estate company. And so we've known each other 1 year apart since we were real little, growing up just down the street from Blueberry Hills, right? So I told her one day, you know, and I said, selling real estate and being an entrepreneur is just like playing B8 football. So you're a B school, 8-man football, thrills of victory, agony defeats, high scoring, you're down 40, doesn't matter, you come back, and every day is like that to me. Like I get to play a game for a living. And if you like it, then it makes like farming or any self-employed person, you know, whether it's a lemonade stand, a farmer, contractor, real estate guy, clothing store. It doesn't matter if you enjoy it. You're going to have to embrace those risks and those challenges. And sometimes you're going to have to like get beat up. And usually you win or you learn. You know, like you don't usually learn when you win, but you just can't quit. And I think
you know what, sure enjoy it.
What I watch now is what I see is I hope that entrepreneurship spirit doesn't die in America, because it's such a foundation for everything. And I hope what we're talking about a little bit, the vocational side of things. Yes. I hope people continue, maybe go back to that and go, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and open my own whatever. Because I think it brings rewards that those people that have to go to an office, and maybe some people enjoy it, right? 9 to 5, and they look forward to that weekend. But I saw this podcast, and this comedian said, yep, it's pretty amazing. I went to college for a long time to get this job that, 5 out of 7 days I can't stand, and I can't wait to get drunk on the weekend to forget about my 5 days I got to go back to, and then I do that for 25 years, and so 5/7 of my life I don't like.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
It doesn't really work for me either. So
Yeah.
you just hope that what you do, what I tell my kids, just try to do something that you like.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, it's okay to start over. It's okay. It doesn't
Or
matter.
take hard rights.
take our rights.
Well, I would do. I always did something I liked, and then if I really liked it, then I had to figure out how to make enough money at it so I could do it again next year.
Yeah. That's the key, right? There's no end in sight. Like, I got to keep working. Like retirement? What? What the hell's that?
And we did. We purchased some orchards towards the end of our time orcharding from 80-year-olds.
Yeah.
And we're like, I don't want to go there.
Totally convinced me I did not want to
Yeah.
be an 80-year-old with an orchard.
Yeah.
That's tough, right?
Yeah.
Well, there was that era right about that time is when it got so challenging that the heirs to these farms, it wasn't really a good viable opportunity for
Right.
anybody. And I remember when I was younger and in real estate, I started when I was like 19 in college. If a farm, that would have been in like 86, 87, 88, if there was no orchards for sale by real estate people.
Yeah.
I mean, that never happened. It was always the shed, whether it be a chemical warehouse or the, a trout blue chaland, that the word of mouth got that orchard sold. Because if it was listed by a real estate broker, it was really bad. Or the sons or daughters would come back and farm it.
Yeah.
And then it just got to where it, unfortunately, as we know, it got corporate and then it got conglomerate and then now it's just
Now it's venture capital.
it's hedge funds and who knows where it's gonna go from here. I think the scary part about that, at least from my perspective, is that's just a line item somewhere in some CFO's office in the Midwest, and if they're done,
If it doesn't show up the way they want it,
they're just done, and there's no emotion,
Yeah.
Because I grew up going to the warehouse cooperatives where if you were, it'd be like a Chelan High School and a Manson High School. We were rivalries. Well, Trout and Blue Chelan were. You were either Trout guy or Blue Chelan guy.
Yeah, that was.
or
Winoka
Manson
guy,
growers,
or whatever, and so
Yeah, bringing them together in a merger was
was a
quite a negotiation.
something else. Yeah, like that would have been like the high schools merging.
Yeah.
And to go to those cooperatives as a little kid with my dad and to listen to these farmers that had a voice, it was an amazing time in this town and inside of the workings of farmers to be able to see that firsthand. And some of the things I remember most, my dad was really good at bringing like pies to the ladies when his fruit was running, just trying to distract them. Hey, how you doing, Beatrice? Oh, hi, Don. Apples going by. He was the classic. Oh, how you doing, young lady?
I don't think you did that, but I'm sure you visited with them.
You tried to distract him a little bit.
Chat.
Hey, he always took the operator. My dad go, hey, speed that belt up a little bit. Just a little bit. Looks like it's going pretty slow there, John. And then the damn color sorter came.
Yeah.
Everyone went to hell. So, no, you guys, it's a fascinating story.
Yes.
And I really, really feel blessed and honored that you guys chose to come tell your story. And I know your family's going to be listening, and including your grandkids, and great-grandkids, and great-great-grandkids. Yeah. It's just really fun to listen to these kind of.
And if somebody else wants to start making apple cider donuts, no one's going to be mad about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd probably like a little bit of a profit, just because.
I think that's a Tara Kalin move right here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
They're still making donuts down at the shop, but I don't know what kind they're making.
Yeah, you're not claiming they're your donuts.
No, I don't. I enjoyed that chapter of our life, but I don't want to go back and look at that.
You guys don't seem to look in the rearview mirror that often.
Yeah, and even with the sailboat, I thought I was going to have a real hard time, but we had put it up for sale and it wasn't selling, so we went back. And when we first left it was very quick and hectic because we needed to get to the airport. So when we went back and changed brokers and did some other things, and it had a few more moments to say goodbye.
I see.
It was like, okay, I'm done with this. And even my
We
house
got to take
too.
it out and got a good whale show.
I got a good whale show. That was
The
you
humpback
asked me.
whales jumping out of the water.
really?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's fun.
We did come upon two mating whales once while we were sailing, and turned off the motor because we didn't know what else to do and just drifted along. And they actually, when they were all finished, they actually like dove under the boat, like the dolphins will come and play in your bow. These two did that, And then they kept doing their regular diving, and usually they'll from 5 to 7 little dives, and then they'll go deep and bring up their tail. And these guys went deep and were like, I think we're okay to go. So we turned on our motor and motored out of there, and then they popped up, and it looked like they were like, well, where'd they go? Like they
Yeah,
missed
we were
us.
having fun.
Yeah. So
That's just surreal, I bet, when you're out there.
It can, yes, very much can be. So,
Oh,
yeah.
this has been a fun podcast, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank
Thank
you
you.
so much
Been
for
talking
coming.
for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yep.
That
Love
was an
the
hour and a
adventure
half.
of your
Wow.
life.
It went
Are we
fast.
off now?
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah. Well, I hope you this will air next week,
Yeah, next Friday.
next Friday.
Okay.
So we'll get it out to you. It's on YouTube. You can go to youtube.com and look it up. And
Do
we'll
you
see.
edit this or do?
Yeah, a little bit, not too
Oh,
much. I
if
mean,
if
we call it
was picking my nose or something.
No, we put
No,
that.
we would highlight that.
Yeah.
That's highlight reel
He
material.
zooms in on stuff like that. We use it as leverage. We try to fund the podcast with blackmail. All right, with blackmail, we're going to sign off. One more
Yeah.
time.
Honestly, great to meet you guys,
Yeah,
and we
thank you.
look forward to seeing what happens next.
Yeah,
Okay.
keep us in the loop.
Yeah.
Gosh, the
Alright.
pressure's
Signing off.
on.
Now I know, and I'm like, oh no.
We got to figure out what to do.
Something crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still want to learn how to do nothing.